What up, everybody? Now that you guys can see me, I see Rose in the chat already. Everybody share this out. We have a good show tonight. We got a lot of stuff to go over. Lots and lots of stuff to go over. We're going to be talking about, let me move my notes actually. Let me move them over here. So while you're all getting in here, go ahead and get in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from. But we are going to be talking about the left is trying to fire Pete Hegseth already, which is absolutely asinine. We have a opportunity in what seems like we're going to attempt to censure Jasmine Crockett, which I would love because she is a disaster. I want to pull up a video. Crap, did I save that link? If not, we're still going to pull up the video. I'm going to go find it. But I want to pull up a video where CNN is saying Trump is more popular than he has ever been, which is awesome. And we're going to go over that. But we want to talk about the main things in the description here, which is 23andMe bankruptcy, the Signal disaster, if we want to talk about that. Like, our government is using Signal for communication. And we had a random hearing today, came out of nowhere super fast. Like, why? How did Congress be able to pull all of that together so quick? I don't get it. Oh, extra camera. Okay. And then the last thing, we need to talk about Snap and the soda stuff because I have some issues with it. I have some issues, and some of you already know my feelings about it because you've heard me talking about it on X or seen my posts, but it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, Terry, it was a scheduled hearing, but what the freak? Like, how did we get one so fast, but we can't get scheduled hearings for all of the other things? How can we figure that one out? I don't know. I think some of that's just ridiculous. Is it working? No. Go to search and just search out. Sorry, Emily's trying to pull it up on the TV here, but we're gonna go through this stuff. We're gonna go through this stuff. So share this out, get it out there. Okay, the viewers are finally climbing. Finally, it's getting up there. So let's go. Rose, you're on X. Yes, David. Yes, everything is bullshit. Well, it is everything, but not everything. Hey, what up, Freedom Coach? I see you. Glad everybody's getting in here. Those accounts are going up, so everybody's finally. I'm gonna have to increase that intro. That intro is gonna have to be a couple minutes long. Usually a minute's long enough, but it doesn't seem like the attention gets there for everything. But we're going to get there. So share this out. Oh my. Oh my. I was just looking at some comments on some of my posts, and why Why? Oh, whatever. Whatever. Okay, let's get into this. Let's go ahead and let's start with 23andMe. Because this 23andMe thing bothers me, but it's just what it is. Like the company went under. I'm glad I didn't do it. I didn't actually put in for it. I didn't try to get my history. I won't lie. I thought about it a few times. I because it was interesting to find out um what to find out your history and where you're coming from and all of the different things. Like I I was intrigued. But then I got thinking about it. I'm like, who has this data? Where will this data live? And what is the outlook of this? And my biggest concern with this company was a whole bunch of people are going to buy it at first. They're going to be super profitable. And then there's no reason to come back. So the company's going to go under at that point. It's just this quick company that will spin up and then disappear. And that's what happened. That's what happened. 23andMe does not have returning customers, so they really don't have any customer base to keep them afloat. The high is over. So 23andMe is filing Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Now, Chapter 11 doesn't mean it's going away. So they can still exist as an entity and a corporation. They have some limitations and stuff like that. I don't know them all around the bankruptcy laws, but I know Chapter 11, it doesn't mean it goes away, but it can still disappear. The co-founder, that's one of the things that I want to pull up. The co-founder is Ann Ann Watch. I can't say this last name. I will just share my screen and you guys can tell me what you think of this name because I cannot pronounce that. Ann Washiki, something like that. But all in all, she typed up this big long thing. She is the co-founder and former CEO of 23andMe. She's not the CEO. She was asked to be stepping down a while ago. When it comes to it, she is thinking about buying the company again. So she made an offer. They already turned it down. The board and everybody that's trying to keep this company afloat has already turned it down. Now, are they going to sell it off to her at the last minute? I think after all of this controversy over the last couple days around this, I bet they end up caving and selling because there's not much that is keeping people happy around this. So I don't see a long future of 23andMe. I don't see a future for any of those. There was another one that came out, not just 23andMe. There was another competitor of it that is going to be in the same boat, but 23andMe is the first one to take a fall. Now, this company, I'm going to pull up the instructions that I just posted as I was looking into this earlier today. I posted this on X, so if you want these instructions, this is the instructions to go and delete your data. Highly recommend you do it, regardless if you're concerned on how they handle this whole bankruptcy and all of this. Highly recommend you go and request to have your data deleted. The whole reason for this is to have your formal request to have your data deleted so you have it later if there is something to go wrong. And I feel like I can guarantee it. There's going to be something to go wrong with this. There's too much value in this data that they have that I don't trust that they will even properly delete it, but it would be good for you to have that track record and that documentation to say that you requested it. So that's all I really wanted to talk about on this one topic is I would recommend to delete your data or request to have it deleted because I don't know if they will actually delete it. But at least you will have that request for in the future if there is any issues. I suspect there will be. There is way too much value in this, and 23andMe is way desperate to make ends meet. I wouldn't be surprised if they find a way in their loopholes of their terms and service to be able to sell off information and data. That is the era we are in today. The era we are in today is any data that is gathered is able to be sold and to be able to help companies market slash make more profit and do better marketing strategies and know who you are and what you do. So I would recommend to have your data deleted, so you have that documentation in case there was something down the road. I am not a big fan of these organizations getting your DNA in the first place. There's a lot of sketchy things that would do with that could be done with it, to try to understand humans, let alone, let's just say if Wuhan lab was given a bunch of information on humans' DNA for testing. I don't think that's a good idea. And we know what our government did with the Wuhan lab, that they were involved in a whole lot of testing there. Regardless of where you're coming from, regardless of your stance on COVID, we funded testing. We funded a whole bunch of stuff in the Wuhan lab. I would not trust the government to have my DNA to be like, hey, this is what the DNA strands look like. What should we test like that? How should we test in these scenarios? I would not do it. And so I would request to have your data deleted. I'm not a big fan of 23andMe and those services. They're cool. It's interesting. Too much to risk. So we're starting with that topic today. Kind of a little bit of conspiracy stuff, but I don't trust the government and I don't trust their friends. And we learned quite a bit of that during COVID. And we can't trust our government or the friends. And I would consider this the government's friends. So just make sure you request to have your data deleted. Hey, what up, Andy? What up, Andy? Let me get this all moved around so I can click on some comments. There we go. Was thirsty and wanted soda. It's a good thing I waited. I waited for the Snap program conversation for a little bit later just for you, Andy, because you weren't here. Let's jump into the next thing. Let's talk about Dollar Store Obama. Dollar Store Obama wants Donald Trump to fire Pete Hegseth. This is a letter that was submitted by Dollar Store Obama, or his government name of Hakeem Jeffries, says that in a letter to Donald Trump that Pete Hegseth is the most unqualified Secretary of Defense in American history. Does anybody in the comments agree with that? Let me know in the comments. Do you guys agree that Pete Hegseth is the most unqualified Secretary of Defense in American history? I don't agree with that. I don't think he is. Does he kind of break the mold of what our government has done in the past? Yes, he does break the mold. He doesn't do your normal stuff. Like, he's not your traditional long-term, like on the deathbed politician being inserted. I think he has a track record. You could say he's qualified to be Secretary of Defense. The person filing this paperwork is justifying, saying the so-called Secretary of Defense recklessly and casually disclosed highly sensitive war plans, including timing of a pending attack, possible strike targets, and the weapons to be used during an unclassified national security group chat that inexplicitly included a reporter. Okay. But so he accidentally included a reporter. We're going to go accidentally right now. That's what we were originally told. How this information really got out is weird to me. I didn't watch all of the hearing today because I got pulled away for work. So I got to go through that. But there was some sketchy stuff with these stories that we were being told on how this actually came about. The reason why I find this all interesting is I mentioned it earlier. So if let's go with the story we're told. Trying to piece this together, guys, with logic, like most people would try. Um, if let's say if we accidentally included a reporter that happened to do this with the Atlantic newspaper, like the Atlantic, and they leaked these screenshots and this information. They accidentally included them, but now the reporter's being all weird. None of it's making sense. Then you have JD Vance even coming out and having a public story talking about he was pushing back against Donald Trump on doing this attack in general because it goes against what they were running on for a 2024 campaign, which bravo to JD Vance. And thank you, Sean. Sean that was on our game show with us. He tagged me in the news article on Saturday or Sunday this weekend talking about how JD Vance was against it, the attack, because it doesn't go against the agenda that they ran on in their campaign. And I agree with that. That's my whole stance is, hey, we were not supposed to start new wars. They weren't harming anything of American property. So let them be, is my stance with it. And JD Vance kind of was pushing back on that. And I agree with that. And I bravo to him for pushing back. A lot of people would be like, oh, my boss said to do this, so I'm going to do it anyways. No, push back when you see that you need to. And this is a scenario that JD Vance did it. So bravo to him. But Pete Hegseth, I don't even know who created this chat. I have not seen anywhere how this chat got created. And with how this got created, and somehow this reporter got added. Now, I posted early on when I saw it, this is not good. This is weird. And even more today, like we do with any government, it's weird. But let me roll this back a little bit. This chat was supposedly created. We included a whole bunch of people from the cabinet in this text chat with Signal. And Signal is a SMS chat or an instant messaging, however you want to look at it, that you can encrypt it. You can protect your messages. So it is not, so you can keep it from anybody that wants to view these messages. You have to go break the encryption, which can still be done, but it's very difficult. And so they were using this chat and going back and forth talking about this attack. And thank you, Rose. And she hits a nail on the head right here. Share this out. But they created this chat and accidentally included a reporter. We won't say who created it or any of that. Somehow this happens. We talk about this attack, and then screenshots come out. But miraculously, the fastest we've ever had Congress act, the fastest we have ever had them act, put together this entire hearing we had today and said, hey, we can do this now. We need to talk to these people about this. Congress has never moved like this ever before. And then today, the same day as the hearing, you have Hakeem Jeffries sending a letter to Donald Trump saying he is the most unqualified Secretary of Defense in American history. What the freak? You couldn't act this fast when it came to funding the government a couple weeks ago? You couldn't act this fast when we had to get confirmation hearings done? You couldn't act this fast in any of the other budgets and all of these other bills that you've been filibustering and taking your time and all of this stuff. But no, all of a sudden, this one we jump on and we can spin up a hearing and get it done in less than 48 hours. This tells me that the journalist didn't get added. Someone in the cabinet got added and leaked the screenshots. There's some other way that this happened. A journalist didn't just get added. The math doesn't math here. Someone else had to get it. These screenshots had to come out, and all of this stuff to where then Congress or the Senate called the Intelligence Committee and was like, "Hey, we need to have a hearing." None of this makes any sense. Congress never behaves this way and acts this fast, ever, in anything. So that's where I'm looking at this super fishy. There's also some reports that came out over the weekend that all of this stuff, like what that was going on when this was going on, I think it was the weekend, but supposedly it was done as a campaign to leak that we're implying to the European Union that we don't care about them and we're trying to imply this. Nothing with this government is implying anything. This administration is not implying a single thing. They are just doing it in your face. So the people that are pushing that agenda, I don't see how that logic makes any sense because that is not how this administration is doing any work. And Terry, you're not wrong. They can't find the bathroom that fast. Yeah. Well, a couple of them would get one of them would get confused on what bathroom to use. So we have that also in Congress right now. But none of this makes any sense. The hearing, I also was annoyed by the hearing, to be honest, is I felt like everybody on that was sitting up there. So you had Kash Patel, you had Radcliffe, and you have Tulsi Gabbard. They kind of looked like they were beaten puppies sitting up there on the clips that I saw. And I'm like, come on, guys. Just say the truth. Let's get it out there and let's move on. But it definitely was annoying. And so we're going to transition to all of the signal stuff and jump into that since this is a transition into it. But overall, Dollar Store Obama, Dollar Tree Obama, whatever we want to call him, Hakeem Jeffries calling Pete Hegseth is the most unqualified Secretary of Defense in American history. In my opinion, he can fuck off. He is an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And he is just trying to stir the pot. And I'm pretty sure he got this information before it hit the Atlantic. And that is where all of this moved very quickly today. One of the clips that I want to share from the hearing today that I did watch the whole clip of, and this is of Senator King of Maine. And out of all states, Maine, I have a pretty good feeling Maine is going to be one of the biggest pains in Trump's side for this term. Maine is a disaster, and they are trying to figure out how they can fight Donald Trump in their small little state in the country. Small little state. But this is what this idiot had to say. Give me a thumbs up in the comments if you can hear this, because I want to make sure you guys can hear this.
I want to move on. One note that surprised me, I've been on this committee now this is my 13th year. Every single one of these reports that we have had has mentioned global climate change as a significant national security threat, except this one.
Wait a minute. So we're talking about Signal being used as a form of communication between people in the cabinet and leadership in our government, and we're concerned with climate change. Is that a concern for you guys in this scenario? Why is climate change coming up right now? Because I didn't think that we are worried about climate change when we are bombing another country. Which, by the way, I don't support. I don't support us going and bombing the Houthis. I don't think it was a big deal for us to get involved. But climate change? Really? Really? Let's hear what else he has to say.
Has something happened? Has global climate change been solved? Why is that not in this report?
Climate change was solved because we got rid of stupid government agendas to be able to filter taxpayer money into your green plans and your solar energy organizations, which I'm a big proponent of solar. Most of you know. I love it. But I also don't believe in the government creating organizations like Solyndra and having billions of dollars go disappearing in a company that just goes under after a year because of green energy, and we're going to back green energy. Good hell.
And who made the decision that it should not be in the report when it's been in every one of the 11 prior reports?
I can't speak to the decisions made previously, but this annual threat assessment has been focused very directly on the threats that we deem most critical to the United States and our national security. Obviously, we're aware of occurrences within the environment and how they may impact operations, but we're focused on the direct threats to Americans' safety, well-being, and security.
How about how they will impact mass migration, famine, dislocation, political violence, which is the finding, by the way, of the 2019 annual threat assessment under the first Trump administration? You don't consider that a significant national security threat?
For the intelligence community, being aware of the environment that we're operating in is a given. What I focused this annual threat assessment on, and the IC focused this threat assessment on, are the most extreme and critical direct threats to our national security.
Let me ask a direct question. Who decided climate change should be left out of this report after it's been in the prior 11? Where was that decision
I
made?
gave direction to our team at ODNI to focus on the most extreme and critical national security threats that we face.
Your direction include no comments on climate change?
Senator, as I said, I focused on the most extreme and direct national security threats.
That's not a response to my question.
That we face.
Did you instruct that there be no finding in terms of climate change in this report?
I don't recall giving that instruction.
Final questions in a few.
This is it. He doesn't really get into anything else. He's going to ramble off some other questions, but the clip ends. This guy is a freaking nut job. And you guys are saying it in the comments. He is a nut job. 100%. Like, nut job. When it comes down to our senators, if any of them are trying to say climate change is a national security threat, you know that these guys are bought and paid for and are not going to be serving you as constituents. So you need to remove them in the next election that you can and get rid of them. And Mr. King is one of them. He is crazy and stupid, and it's starting to look like everybody from Maine is crazy and stupid. Because what the hell does this have to do with national security? We were told during Al Gore's big fiasco with the Inconvenient Truth that by now Florida would be underwater. Is Florida underwater? No. Well, it's just pathetic. This climate change stuff is only going to pad the pockets of politicians and their friends to push a green agenda to create a whole new industry so they can move money there, but it doesn't actually do everything that they're saying. That is all politicians are pushing for. Why he is doing it? Maine isn't big on solar energy. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand why he is pushing for it, but I bet you if we went and dug through his donors, we'd probably find out. This is why you have to be careful with stupid politicians. Stupid politicians. The other thing, like Carolyn Levitt said today, she said there was no war plans discussed in the chat. There was no classified material that was sent in the thread. And let's see what else is in here. That was pretty much it. The White House counsel's office has provided guidance on a number of different platforms for President Trump's top officials to communicate and safely and efficiently to communicate as safely and efficiently as possible. That was their goal. That was in Caroline Levitt's post earlier today, this morning, on the whole signal thing. If there was nothing really discussed other than, hey, we're going to make this strike, we are going to do it, we're going to do it soon, then what is the concern? So let's pull up some of the screenshots that were sent out, and we'll go over that data real quick. So we can go over it and see, were we told the correct information? JD Vance at Pete Hegseth. If you think we should do it, let's go. I just hate bailing Europe out again. Let's just make sure our messaging is tight here. And if there are things that we can do up front to minimize risk to Saudi oil facilities, we should do it. Fair enough. I like it. Very clear, to the point. This is a leader. That's how you communicate. You don't add a whole bunch of fluff to it. Pete Hegseth, VP, I fully share your loathing of European freeloading. It's pathetic. But Mike is correct. We are the only ones on the planet on our side of the ledger who can do this. Nobody else even close. Question is timing. I feel like now is as good as any. Given POTUS directive to open shipping lanes, I think we should go, but POTUS still retains 24 hours of decision space. Okay. That's Pete Hegseth. Back to VP. Now, I do question a little bit of the communication saying VP. I don't know if I would communicate like that via text, but maybe that's how Pete Hegseth does. That's so be it. I'm not going to read into that too much. And then JD Vance is excellent. This is another chat. So Houthi PC small group is the name of this chat in here. You can see the different names and the different people interacting. Doesn't seem like they really did anything in putting the government or anything of national security at risk in these screenshots that were released. Now, could there be something that is not out there that could be putting us at risk? Sure, but I haven't seen it. It doesn't seem like it's making a whole bunch of public rounds. So until then, it doesn't exist. So all of these people that are trying to push this entire thing, Hakeem Jeffries or Dollar Tree Obama, trying to say he is not qualified to being the Secretary of Defense. I disagree. I have not seen anything. I do appreciate that Pete Hegseth is getting to work. Unlike Pam Bondi, you can get your ass off of the TV and go do some work. Everybody else seems to be doing it in the cabinet, but you. And so, yes, I had to mention Pam Bondi at least once because she is a lazy piece of garbage using up taxpayer money and needs to go. Grifters trying to get clicks. Yeah, I agree, David. I agree. The more I read this, the more I think it was planned. I agree, Andy. As I was doing some diligence just before the stream started, I was making sure I wasn't missing anything. I was like, wait a minute. Like, I bet someone in that chat, and this is probably why they're a little bit of hush-hush in the hearing today. They didn't really expose a whole lot. They just sat quietly. But it makes me wonder if they're going back through that chat right now and looking at who was added, and okay, these people shouldn't have been added. And this is what happened. These questionable people probably leaked this information because there's no way Congress got unified to be able to do a Senate Intelligence Committee hearing this fast without getting a heads up on it. They had to have. They don't move this fast. None of it makes sense. But all in all, I still disagree with the actions, but they're justifying it as what they want to do, and that's fine. I don't make the decisions. I disagree with them. I don't think we even needed to be bombing the Houthis, but it is what it is. Terry says it is now rumored that Wall's assistant added the journalist. I wouldn't be surprised. It could be, but that should be in the chat. In Signal, I have used Signal in the past. In Signal, when you create chats and stuff like that, it tells you when someone got added and who added them. It tells you. So they can go back and figure it out. Let's see. I mean, I question if it's even real. It would be pretty easy to fake the conversation, see all the spoofs of it. I doubt if it was fake, we would have heard it in the hearing. I don't think you would have had Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, and Radcliffe sitting up there not admitting, like, not saying anything, but knowing that it's fake. They would have said it was not real. So I believe it was real. I just question the whole narrative on it. What up, Ed? What up, Ed? Good to see you, buddy. So, yeah, I don't know about this one. Like, this one, it's messy. It's typical government, to where you could, some people call it a distraction to kind of distract us, right? But I don't know. I think somehow someone on the left got added. They probably added the journalist or something along those lines. And with all of that getting in, they tried to bank on this to say that they're going to get the right. They're going to get Donald Trump and his cabinet, and they're going to shut everything down. That's what they're thinking. But no, this isn't anything that's going to cause any of that. I just think it's all a joke. It's all a joke because it is the left's idea just to create chaos and a disaster of things, especially when Donald Trump is president. When Donald Trump's president, the left doesn't want to do anything besides create chaos. When Joe Biden's president, the right just yells and screams. They don't create chaos, that they yell and scream, and it's just obnoxious. Like, you have MTG just yelling and screaming from the back of the room. Or, yeah, this is our government, and they really should not be having these problems. We should, in my opinion, we shouldn't have an issue that we can communicate clearly with each other and nothing gets out. None of this should be a thing, but because our government is so focused at blaming the other freaking side, whether you're on the right or the left, we spend all of this time doing this bullshit. All of the time. If we would stop worrying about trying to get the other side and trying to get this dirt on everything, we might be able to pay off $38 trillion in debt. Might. But no, our government is too worried about trying to get their agenda pushed for them to put them above somebody else. And they're trying to do this to favor themselves and their lobbyists. That's all they're doing. And it's bullshit. It's bullshit. I think they did it on purpose to show Europe that they were saving them, even though they didn't want to. I disagree with that. I don't think our government is that effective at doing stuff like this. I don't think so. I don't think that our government would be able to would have the brain cells to even pull off something like that and be like, oh yeah, we're just going to leak this so the Europe will get the hint. Nothing about Donald Trump's cabinet works that way. Everything has been just in your face. Like, Donald Trump signed the bill, the executive order to rename the Gulf of Mexico as he was flying over the Gulf of Mexico. There's nothing about this administration that they're trying to just imply things. Donald Trump was calling out the governor of Maine to her face at a press conference and saying that you're not going to get any government funding if you're going to keep supporting DEI initiatives. And so all of that stuff, none of this is trying to be like subtle or sugarcoating it. So I would say that goes against what we know this administration is doing. And nothing is telling me that they want to slow that down or change that. So I think this is a little bit of an F up in the administration, that somehow this got out. They know how it got out and they're going to deal with it. But I'm also not a big fan of us using Signal to communicate like this. Just not. Sure, Andy. Do we need to have a conversation about accountability, Andy? Your assistant made that comment, not you? Okay. Whatever. Let's see. Let me see if I can pull this video up on CNN with Trump. It was hilarious today. You see. Here it is. Yeah. Okay. So CNN and Trump. CNN, this had to hurt their feelings to really go over this today. Wait a minute. Oh, wrong screen. Shops. Yep. This is the screen I wanted to share. There we go.
I think sometimes it's important to do a little bit of reality check and take a little different spin at the numbers. I'm going to do that right here because all we talk about is how unpopular Donald Trump is. But in reality, he's basically more popular than he was at any point in term number one and more popular than he was when he won election back in November of 2024. What are we talking about? His net favorable rating right now comes in at -4 points. Compare that to where he was when he won in November of 2024 when he was at -7 points, or March of 2017 when he was at -10 points. So when you compare Trump against himself, he's actually closer to the apex than he is to the bottom of the trough. And of course, that's so important because Donald Trump, historically speaking, has had his numbers underestimated. So I think it's very important to compare him to himself to understand he's actually more popular now than he was when he won, or certainly where he was at this point back in his first term. The bottom line is Trump is more towards the ceiling than he is towards the floor.
So when you do that, it makes...
Do you guys like the way that he had to really explain this? He's more to the ceiling than he is the floor. Are CNN viewers that stupid? They need those analogies to know that his favorability points is going in the positive direction for Donald Trump. What in the hell are they doing? It must be slow news day in CNN. So they had to actually talk about Donald Trump and say something positive, but have a really dumb analogy to try to explain this. I feel dumber just watching this for like the third time today. I feel really dumb. Like, this guy is an idiot. But how bad do you think this hurts CNN to have to put this in as part of their segment of their show? Do you think that their producer was sitting there in the back is like, oh, we're going to have to talk positively about Donald Trump today. We don't have anything else to talk about. He's going up in favorability on points. We need to talk about that, I guess. All right. CNN is such a joke. They're trying to do whatever they can to keep their ratings up. And this is probably where this is coming from, is being a little bit favorable to maybe pull some of the independents in the middle over to watch. But no one wants to watch CNN. No one wants to watch Fox News. No one wants to watch ABC. No one wants to watch CBS. Everybody is looking to alternative media to get their information because we all know the circle of money from the government to mainstream media is all funneled to be able to control a narrative. And I don't care if you're a Fox News fan, a Newsmax fan, an OAN fan. All of those are problematic because they are all backed with money from the big corporations, which will eventually control their voice. You need to be looking at independent media, not these mainstream guys that you're getting all over TV, because they are all bought. Every single one of them. Even if you do enjoy Fox News. Gutfeld, he's hilarious, but I don't watch it a whole lot. But Gutfeld has some funny jokes. And Joe, we're not promoting your OnlyFans right now. We're not doing that. We're not doing it. So overall, CNN had to say something positive about Donald Trump, which I thought was hilarious. I thought that was really funny when I came across that earlier today. Let's pull up the Jasmine Crockett censure, and I am proudly, I need to make me a shirt. I need to make a shirt. Dang it. Need to do it. Jasmine Crockett had paperwork filed today to censure her, and we are going to see if we can actually deliver on that. I think it would be wonderful. Jasmine Crockett has been inciting violence, and she has done things that anybody on the right has done, and they have gone to either to jail or gotten in trouble for doing. So, for example, Jasmine Crockett not earlier today, the video was going around, I think, last night and today. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Because Jasmine Crockett is a pain in my ass, even though she has blocked me. Let me find the video of her walking down the hallway. I think it's at the Capitol building. And she grabs Laura Loomer's phone. She grabs Laura Loomer's or assistant. I don't know if it was Laura Loomer specifically. Come on. Come on. Get to the video. Where is it? I just had it. My freaking hell. There we go. Oh, it was Charles Downs. So it was a guy that works with Laura Loomer. Charles Downs was recording Jasmine Crockett, and she reached. Hello, Congresswoman. We don't really need to hear much of what they're talking about here.
Congresswoman Crockett, you were recently on a Tesla takedown call calling for violence on the 29th. Would you like to clarify your comments?
As you can see.
Congresswoman, will you condone violence at the Tesla?
This exact same action right here, reaching for the phone and taking it out, like ripping it out of his hand, is what Enrique Tarrio was arrested for in Washington, D.C. when a counter protester was out there with them. He was arrested on the Capitol property, just out there, and someone shoved a phone in his face, and he does a very similar action to this. He got arrested. Why does she get away with it?
Will you condemn violence at the Tesla?
Why in the world does she get away from this? No. If we're going to be arresting Enrique Tarrio for doing this, then we should arrest her for doing this. Just because Enrique Tarrio is favored on the right, favors the right, and has those political views, doesn't mean the laws are applied differently. Not at all. And she got away with this. No one did anything to her. No one. But she did this, and she's going to do more. Loomer told him to file assault charges, and supposedly he did. Well, and it's all just going to get dropped. Even if Loomer and him file assault charges, it's not going to go anywhere. That's the thing that sucks, is even if, say something worse happened, I doubt any of this is going to happen. And anything bad is going to happen, or holding any politicians accountable. We know our country never holds politicians accountable. We just don't. And it sucks. But these politicians, and what Charles was asking is a pretty logical question and reasonable. He wasn't being aggressive. He was asking for her comment on a topic. I don't remember what he said on the topic, but he was asking for her to comment on it. And then she does that? No. You are an elected official in the United States of America, and the person you are talking with is part of press and a U.S. citizen. You treat them respect, or you can just not answer the question. You just don't answer the question. You just don't talk to them. You don't need to do stuff like this. Not at all. Yeah, Joe. Well, that's one thing I have over you. I voted for one president that won, and that was this last election. Other than that, you and I are in the same boat. I voted for president. Every time I voted, I always lost when it came to president. He actually has injuries. It's battery. How did he have injuries? Okay, hang on. I followed Charles Downs. I follow him on X. Let's go see his injuries, because if he has injuries, I have other questions. Congresswoman, the video proves. Oh, wait a minute. Let's pull this up real quick. I want you guys to see this. I didn't even know this happened. Hang on. She made a post on X about this. What a freaking joke. Oh, good hell. This one. No, I want. Is it this one? There we go. So this one, this screen. This morning, an individual attempted to invade my personal safety for a soundbite. Thank you to my colleague, Tim Burchett, which Tim Burchett is one that I'm not too fond with. He's okay at times, but really annoying, for putting himself between me and the individual to ensure I made it to the committee. In time of division, he put respect and safety first. I appreciate it. He was not in any of her personal space. He gave her space. He was not in her way. How she got away with this is absolutely stupid and should not be tolerated at all. This video shows that she clearly had room, see? And she did nothing besides reach out and intentionally create contact with him and supposedly scratched his arm. That's what I want to look at. Like, scratched his arm. I need to see this. Because how did she scratch his arm if she's reaching for a phone? March 24th. Those are the videos. I don't see pictures of his arm that he posted on his page, at least. Before Jasmine Crockett grabbed my phone and hand while I was asking her question about violence at Tesla showrooms, she mocked Governor Abbott for being in a wheelchair. Yeah, that video is another thing. But yeah, I don't think she scratched his arm, because if he did, Charles has got some explaining to do, because he says in a post, and I'll just share his wall right now from X and show you what he even posted. So in his post, right? Let's see. Before Jasmine Crockett grabbed my phone and hand, while I was asking her a question about violence at Tesla showrooms, and it says nothing about an arm, nothing about getting scratched. So if anybody is trying to say any of that, they're trying to make something that they really shouldn't. Like, this is the problem with media. Like, really, you got scratched? If you really got scratched, it'd just be like, whatever. Like, it is what it is. But she should not be getting away with anything that we are arresting others. So it looks like it's a link to, I can't click on it, but that is, I can pull up Laura Loomer's. Let me pull up Laura Loomer's page and 4 hours ago. That's a really long number. Ed, DM me that link, and then I'll pull it up that way. Yeah, I can't click the link, Ed. It won't in our streaming platform. I can't click the link to pull it up. So just DM me it, because I'm scrolling through. There's all the videos. Oh, okay. Really? It's not on his arm. It's on his hand. Okay. Let me go grab this. I'm only touching on this because someone mentioned it, because Ed mentioned it. I wouldn't even give this time of day. If we're going to be complaining, wrong screen again. Sorry, guys. Let me switch back. If we're going to be talking about that, like, yes, Terry mentions her talons. Like, really? It barely touched your hand. Like, okay, you're a little bit of red. I'm not going to give a whole lot of sympathy. Is it? Come on, guys. Like, really? We're going to be crying over these things? She shouldn't have grabbed his phone. 100%. She shouldn't have grabbed his phone. She shouldn't have done that. By law, it's still assault. But guys, let's ask this question. If you file charges for it, what is the result that will come from it? You file charges for it. What is going to come out of it? Is she going to get arrested? Is she even going to see a day in court? Will she get a slap on the hand? No, and the part is I see a lot of people will be focused on this and trying to make this bigger into what it really is, especially people on the right, and Laura Loomer included. Laura Loomer tries to make mountains out of molehills, and that's my problem. Yeah, your hand, like, should we hold them accountable for doing this? Nothing's going to come out of it. She should have to appear or pay someone to appear for her. She won't even have to appear. Again, we already talked about this. So in this country, we have never held politicians accountable. Ever. Enjoy bingo, David. Enjoy bingo. Lawfare. No, I get what you're saying. The law is the law. There's an issue that I see here that we're trying to make something out of, like out of a scratch. Fine, try it. See where it goes. It goes nowhere. We wasted that time when we could have done something else by spending our time talking about what Tom Holman is doing. Kristi Noem is doing. We could be focused on talking about the great things that this administration is doing while the left is trying to do everything to take it down. That would be far more valuable than trying to talk about a scratch on a hand. And now, if we could be getting to where everybody is treated equally, and politicians we could hold accountable, we can start taking them to court just like we would be held accountable, and so be it. But we're not even close to that right now. And so it doesn't even make sense. Doesn't make sense to me. But I understand what you're saying. Both you and Andy, Ed and Andy. Like, I get it, but I would rather put my effort into something else. Really would. All right, let's jump into the next topic here. Last topic. The last topic. Who has heard about the SNAP program and potentially banning soda? Andy's favorite topic. So banning soda from the SNAP program became a thing that everybody was talking about, even some weird big accounts. Have you guys heard anything about the SNAP program and potentially removing soda from it? And do you agree with it? Do you think that we should pull soda from the SNAP program? Throw it in the comments if you think we should pull soda from the SNAP program. I want to know what you guys think before I start giving my opinion here. Because I think probably different than some of you. David says, yep, and I don't care. Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. So what are you meaning, Ed? Are you saying it's not nutritious to have soda? There's no nutrition in there? Is that what you're saying? Because we're talking about our government here. Our government justified pizza is a nutritional food for our kids because it has tomato sauce. That is what our government justified pizza is nutritious. And Joe, you are in the comments. Our government for schools justified pizza is nutritious for our kids. And Joe, you're not wrong. I do believe it should be sunset also. Let's see. Ed says, why is my chat going all weird today? Yeah, I do, along with fast food. Okay. It's true. Talking about it on your big account, Joe? Yeah, sure. Sure. All right. So my opinion is soda should be removed from the SNAP program. SNAP is Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. One, it's an assistance program. It is not a program that you should be on for the rest of your life. It should be temporary, and it should just be to get you some food to get you through the hardship that you're going through at that moment. It is not anything that we should be supporting buying junk food. However, see you, Joe. Where I have issues with this, and there are people that feel very differently about this, they believe the government shouldn't be telling us what we should and shouldn't eat. I agree. Until you live off the taxpayer dollar and the taxpayers are paying for your food, then I believe the government should be providing quality food for you to consume. We should not be consuming junk food. We should not be consuming soda. We should not be consuming any of that on this program. We should not be allowing them to buy all of this garbage. If you don't like it, get a job and don't be dependent on government programs and buy all the soda and Diet Coke you want. I am not saying that you cannot eat that. I am saying the government should be promoting a healthy eating diet that everybody should be eating. And we should not be telling them they could go buy soda. They could go buy these snacks. They could buy all of this stuff that you shouldn't be purchasing with the SNAP program. You should be buying quality food for you to consume. That is my stance on it. Now, the reason why this is a big topic is it's not specifically on just banning soda from the SNAP program. Why do I bring this up? Is because there are some social media influencers that were given talking points on behalf of the government to be able to promote an agenda. No Oreos. Correct, Terry. Correct. So these social media influencers, however you want to call them, were paid by a company called Influenceable to go against what all of these people were voting for. We're talking about people other than Ian Miles Chong, which is not an American, and if he voted, he shouldn't be. But Ian Miles Chong, Eric Daugherty, not Jerome Powell on X, and Clown World were all posting on X an agenda to say the SNAP program is trying to limit, the government's trying to control what you can eat. And so let me actually do this. Hang on one sec. So I can zoom in and show you guys in another way. Because then we can make this better. So these people, these accounts on X, Clown World's got 2 million like a ridiculous amount of following. Let's go ahead and pull that up real quick. Clown World, 3 million followers. The government wants to block soda purchases for Americans on SNAP. Remember when New York City tried this and it completely backfired? President Trump proudly had Diet Coke button in the Oval Office. This is ridiculous government overreach. Let people decide for themselves. Wait a minute. Government overreach? You're living off of the government. And so if you're living off the government and the taxpayer money, then, Ed, I'm going to get to that one in a minute. That one's going to be the last one. because I got more on that one, which bothers me. But why in the hell are these big accounts, Eric Daughtery, and shout out to Eric Daughtery on the right here. He even made a post, and we'll pull it up here in a minute, saying this is egg on his face. He shouldn't have done it, and he won't do it again. But if you are taking money from the government, it is not government overreach if the government tells you how you can spend the damn money. Government overreach is when the government is coming into your life and you worked hard for your money and telling you how you have to spend it or taxing the shit out of it, which they already are doing. That is government overreach. It is not government overreach to be on a government program and be told how you can actually spend the money. That is not government overreach at all. It should come with restrictions. Ed says, makes no sense. Can't buy prepared deli food, but fast food and sandwiches in a 7-Eleven are okay. Exactly. David says, if you accept aid from the government, you are a slave to the government. They get to dictate. Facts. Anybody that bought into this and is trying to defend this as government overreach, it really needs to understand this, because it's not. You're living off the government. So there is going to be some influence of where you can spend the money. Not Jerome Powell. Government overreach strikes again. This time it's soda's turn. They want to restrict soda purchases through SNAP this time. And then Ian Miles Chong. A new war on soda has begun, targeting the purchases made through SNAP. Do any of these posts look like their normal content? Because it's not. This is not their normal wording on their content. They were given exactly the exact talking points that they could actually post. And these aren't the only ones, guys. Let me go back and let me pull up another one. This one really bothers me, and I hate doing this, but we have to talk about it because we're going to talk about the truth here. Chad Prather. I love you, man. We've done events and we've done shows together, but you were paid to make this post. You were paid to make this post. And I know you voted for Donald Trump. I know you voted for Maha to make America healthy again. This post right here goes against Maha. This post it is not what you voted for. This is where we start running into problems. And I've been saying this for a very, very long time. This is what I have issues with monetizing social media platforms. You're going to have these accounts that can be paid money just to post things, and they're just going to post it. It's really dumb. But this is not the only one. Let me go pull up the other one that's tied to this. This is all by a company called Influenceable, by the way. Weird name, right? Is it weird that every time there is something like this that comes up that is working with government or pushing certain agendas, they use a name like Influenceable? Or here in Utah, to be able to get on a primary ballot, you can actually get enough signatures and you get put on the ballot. You don't have to go through a primary process. And then they have companies that will help you gather signatures. And the company name is called Gathering. Is it weird that we keep finding these organizations named like this and are doing very evil things to work with the evil side of our government? And if you notice, I'm not really using a whole lot of labels for parties and party affiliations because it's all of the government. It's every single one of them. And we keep now pushing this down to where influencers are pushing agendas and people are buying into it. When I started talking about this, I don't know if this was Sunday or Monday, but so many people were justifying this SNAP program thing was government overreach, which I don't understand it. I don't understand how you can't connect those dots that it's not government overreach. At this point, it's not weird. It's just par for the course. I agree, Julia, but it's just weird. Like, how do people not see it? How do you not understand that and see, wait a minute, influenceable? Like, should I question this? I agree, Ed. But the problem is if a politician was to make a post or anything like that around receiving money, they have to state there's requirements around it. Like they have to state certain things. Influencers don't. So they can just be paid and they can push a certain narrative, but they don't have to admit that they're being paid for that. It's a slippery slope. Have you ever tried to clean brake drums without soda? Damn near impossible. You're not wrong, scientific. So let me show you guys what this message is like real quick. Let me show you this. This is what, let me copy this over so we can zoom in and zoom out. Okay, so here. So we're going to zoom in here. At the top, this is the new Influenceable phone number. Please label it as Influenceable in your contacts and pin it. This is a text message. This is around the movie Sound of Freedom. I'm sure every single one of you have heard about it. I'm sure every single one of you saw all of the hype that was pushed on social media for it. I'm sure you guys saw all of the marketing that was going on around Sound of Freedom and all of this stuff with Angel Studios and how they were going to make this all happen and all of this great stuff. I really question that entire narrative now on was all of that marketing and all of that narrative around Sound of Freedom manufactured? Because guess what? Angel Studios is also here in Utah, and I know people that no longer work at that company and were laid off. So if Angel Studios was making a lot of money from that movie and a lot of stuff, then why did they do a layoff? Why did they let people go? Was it because they paid companies like Influenceable to create this narrative online so people would go and watch the movie, but then it died shortly after that movie because they didn't like any of the other content? Or is it they just didn't have return customers like 23andMe? This is the type of stuff that has to stop. If I got a text message like this, I would respond with fuck off. Nothing in this is anything that I would support. Nothing. It gives you the talking points. It says part 1, timeline. Today, July 4th, child trafficking awareness with the light mentions of the film. And they're going to pay up to $1,000 for a post? And yeah, you're getting where I'm going, Ed. That's this one. Let's pull this one up. We have this one right here. Listen to what the filmmakers have to say. Sound of Freedom filmmakers, no single interest groups owns the issue of trafficking and promotes the movie. Just like this one up here was promoting 20 I read David's comment about 23andMe. This one was promoting the SNAP program and keeping soda in the SNAP program. But then if you also know Chad Prather, like I love you, man, but this is where shit's not adding up. You just cut out a lot out of your diet and got really fit. Why would we want to keep soda in the SNAP program? We wouldn't. It's not a good thing for you to be consuming. I have maybe one soda every 6 months max. I don't have a whole lot of soda in my life because I cut it out a long time ago. This is where this influenceable garbage needs to stop, and we all need to be aware of it. These big accounts, and shout out to Nick Sortor for dropping this bomb this weekend and releasing all of this information, because no one knew about it until he dropped it. And you have some big ass accounts that haven't even, by what I've seen, I tried looking up Clown World today. I tried looking up Chad Prather today. And Ian Miles Chung, I don't care. I don't care for that individual. I'm sure he wouldn't address it anyways. But Eric Daugherty did address it. He did come out and say, let me pull up his post. He did come out and say, my bad, this is egg on my face. It will never happen again. Now, after he said this, after he was caught, I get it. But he at least is acknowledging right here. Eric Daugherty. Yep, that was dumb of me. Massive egg on my face. In all seriousness, it won't happen again. Shout out to you, man. Good for you. Good for you. I know it's hard to admit when you make a mistake, but this is all I ask for. If someone makes a mistake or does something and they're like, crap, I got called out on this. Like, I shouldn't have done that. I know. Do this. Do this. If you do something that you shouldn't have, and you should admit it, you shouldn't have done that, and you won't do it again. You're still going to lose followers. You're still going to lose credibility no matter what. But at least this, I can say he admitted to it. And at least with this, I can say I'm going to be cautious in what he posts. I'm going to be watching for it in the future. But at least he stuck up for him and said and took ownership of it. Everybody else is letting this go, and I have not seen one of the others address it yet. Some of them have deleted the posts. They've deleted the posts, but they haven't acknowledged this entire situation. Let's see what's in the comments here. I watched it. Don't hate me. Oh, Rose. No, and Sound of Freedom, everybody should watch it. I actually enjoyed watching it, guys, but I question the entire hype on social media now because everybody was all over posting about it. And now it came out that Influenceable was paying social media influencers to post about it. So I question it. I also question like Angel Studios because they made a lot of money from that movie and they still did a layoff just after that movie was released. It's kind of messed up. Discernment is key. If it goes against their normal stance, it's likely a paid post. 100%, Ed. I don't disagree with you. We all make mistakes. We're all trying to make money and survive in this world. So I understand why you would take on sponsorships or paid ads and those things. But I ask is anybody that has a following, and you guys have my word on this. If this was to ever happen, you guys would know. It would be in the post that I was paid to doing this. I would say they are a sponsor of this page, and they have paid me for this advertisement. Rose, you're fine. But I will not be posting stuff like this, trying to influence people, especially when they're trying to get rid of soda out of a SNAP program and you're going against it, even though you voted for Maha and MAGA. You voted for this current administration and you know what RFK is pushing in his agenda, and you voted for it, and you even promoted in your content, but you want to keep soda in the SNAP program. Hey, the logic's not there, guys. Like, it's weird. That makes me question every post they make from now on. Everything. Is it all to make money? Are you getting paid to call out the people who are getting paid? I wish, David. I wish I could make some money from X from doing live streams, and I could get my monetization to kick in and actually get something from X in doing this. It might make it a little bit more worth my time. It could help it not feel as rough because we spend a lot of time to put these things together. It takes a lot of time to put lives together, and it would be nice to get something, but it's difficult. X doesn't monetize live videos, and I enjoy doing live videos. I don't care about spaces. I think spaces are lame. I do them. I'll talk with everybody, but I can't bring up content on the screen for you to read. I can't bring the facts. I have to post a link and hope everybody goes and reads it. I can just put it up on the screen and be like, how did you not see that? That's why I like doing the live streams, and why I like having this chat right here is we all can have a conversation and we can all talk about things, and we're all on different platforms. We're all on different platforms, and so it's fun. I heard this podcast is sponsored by the Snow White movie. The Snow White movie has no money to pay for sponsorships, Andy. I don't know if you heard about their blockbuster breaking movie numbers this weekend, because it was horrible. It was horrendous. Horrendous. All in all, guys, the important thing with this is be super careful on anybody, because Influenceable will still pay somebody, even if their account is only 10,000 followers, they'll still pay them. They just pay them less money. So those accounts will still do the same shit as those big accounts. I just expect those big accounts to have a little bit more integrity, especially those that I have actually worked with. And it's sad that I had to even bring that up today, but I didn't want to. But if I'm going to talk about the truth, I'm not going to hide it just because I know an individual. And this type of stuff we all need to be aware of. But I expect more people to be like Eric in coming out and admitting that this is not something that he should have done. Andy, do you know how to sign up with Influenceable? I bet you if you went to their website, I bet you could fill out some sort of contact form and they would respond to you. We should lobby Elon to include live streams and monetization metrics. Julia, he's already said that is in the works. Like 9 months ago, he was going to work on getting live streams to be more monetized. That's when the XTV came out. And so I was hoping that it was going to be sooner than later, but here we are, like way later, and it still hasn't happened. So I don't know where they're at with it. Hopefully it's coming. I've seen some nice improvements to the live stream and other things that have happened on the back end for any of us that do live streams. We have some nice new features, but yeah, it's still not there for monetization yet. So we'll see if it comes. I don't know. I honestly don't really care. It would be nice, but I don't care. I enjoy doing this stuff. I love talking with you guys. This is a lot of fun. I love hating on the government and putting the message out there to get more people to hate on the government, because there's one thing that we all know is the government is not our friend. So if I can spread any message and not get paid for it, I would push that message. Absolutely. David says, wait, is Influenceable paying free to consistently give me a hard time? My life makes it. That's actually a good point. We might need to ask him, because free probably could do it. Could use some of that money. He's got some kids going to college, right? So, all right, Patrice, have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. But guys, we're going to wrap it up here. We've been going on for an hour and a half. We touched on all of the topics. The big thing is that I wanted to emphasize is, 1, 23andMe, if you ever did it, go and delete your data. Request them to delete your data so you have it. And we're going to see what happens after this bankruptcy. I don't trust that it's just going to go away. I suspect that data will be sold because it is very valuable, and could get a lot of money. And that company needs a lot of money right now. The other thing is, don't trust everything on these big accounts without vetting it. Wrapping it up is also a good way to not get on Snap. Facts, scientific facts. Yeah, don't trust these big influencers or these big accounts and everything that they're saying, because sometimes we need to do our own vetting and we need to make sure that we're doing the right thing. Scientific, you win. I agree. That was a great comment. From my influenceable family to yours, thank you for coming to the show. Andy, you crack me up. And yes, I'm sure you're going to keep beating this story to be like a dead horse. Like you're just going to keep doing it and it's going to keep coming up and you're going to be annoying people with it, but it's hilarious. Keep doing it, man. I think it's funny. But anyways, guys, you guys all have a great night. I will be doing another JFK Files show probably Thursday, I think. There's some new stuff that came out that, well, not came out, but is being discovered and talked about. I found a few things, and so we're going to do another exclusive JFK show. I just don't want to make all They Both Suck podcasts just exclusively JFK, especially when it just started. So we will be doing another exclusive JFK show, and probably a few more after that. But be on the lookout for Thursday is my plan. As long as everything is going to work out. Like sometimes my schedule gets a little hectic with work. But be on the lookout for that, guys. And I will make some posts and get it all out there. Have a great evening. And remember, don't trust the government.